Fantastic. Good morning, everyone. I hope I am audible. Yes. Just would like to comment and compliment the organizers here today for, come in the center? All right, sure. For ensuring this session takes place after the previous session. So everything we've heard from the CEOs today is what we're going to go deeper with. So just a little bit of an introduction. It's an interesting space, the Middle East, where today tradition is meeting transformation. And slowly, quietly, surely, data is taking retail, it's shaping the retail industry in a beautiful way. So from Dubai to Riyadh, retail brands today are not just following global trends. We are truly studying data in order to ensure that we are way ahead of the curve, right? And it's an extremely interesting space, exactly what we heard from the CEOs today, where data is going to drive a lot of decisions in the future. A little bit of an introduction on myself. I've been a passionate marketer for the last 22 years. I am the founder and CEO of Yardstick Marketing Management, where we truly study, work very, very closely with retail brands in order to understand what kind of transformation is going to lead the next big change. With that, just to study a little bit on the numbers, exactly what our CEOs have discussed this morning. The Middle East retail is marked to, it's at a beautiful space where it's about $1 trillion driven by rapid digital adoption, right? More than 70% of shoppers in the UAE and in Saudi and in Middle East essentially compare what's happening online with a product and what's happening in store. So the customer today is always comparing, is after the next bargain, is after the next deal, is after the next summer surprise in order to make that value purchase. We also have some stats which say customer acquisition has increased by 60% in the last 5 years, which just means that we do have customers, but consumer loyalty today is at the lowest. A little bit about the challenges the retail industry faces today. And before we say how data can solve these challenges, I think it's extremely important to understand the key challenges, and exactly resonating with the panel before me was how are retailers today tackling retail challenges, right? Let's look at some of them. Rapidly changing consumer behavior. A millennial today enters a store, loves what he sees, looks at online prices, looks at a bargain and makes a purchase. Boom, done. And what happens to a Gen Z consumer? He's faster, smarter, more agile, will compare costs, will even compare costs to a different country in order to make that purchase. So before that conversion happens, it takes a lot of research and a lot of data analysis, right? So this is exactly what we're tackling it. Legacy brands, we've got multiple of these in the region. Legacy brands want to embrace digital transformation, but are not moving at the pace that they should be. At the same time, newer brands who are more agile, who are digitally friendly, who are savvy, understand trends, are moving at a faster pace and taking over market share. The same consumer today, as we mentioned in the previous slides, is not really loyal. Customer acquisition is becoming a big, big challenge. Legacy brands also have another Herculean task to deal with, which is not just embracing digital transformation, but also looking at the mindset of an organization. How can I drive digital transformation within this organization, which is very, very comfortable with the traditional approach? So this is something that the region also continues to see. Declining customer loyalty, as we've touched upon that. Fragmented data and systems. It's not that data doesn't exist. It exists in silos, in different departments, and there is no particular insight that can drive the next strategy which comes on a dashboard. So fragmented data and systems, and this is one of the key things we talk about, live with every single day, where every single retailer faces this. Bridging the gap between awareness to conversion. What kind of awareness is going to create that purchase, right? This is exactly what the challenges continue for retailers in the region. Having said that, let's shift focus now from the retailers to the new age digital consumer journey. The conventional approach, the goal of every ad was driving conversion. But today, the goal of every ad is essentially to map out the purchase path of that same consumer. Segmentation back in the day was done based on age, based on nationality, geography, location, etc. But today, it's so much to do with behavior-driven adoption. And I'm going to give a quick example of Amazon. Amazon studies behavior, customer behavior. So if I have done some sort of a research on fitness equipment on Amazon, the next thing I'm going to see is yoga mats, resistance bands, protein shakes, and this is essentially behavior-driven. What that does to me as a consumer, it inspires me to buy more. So from click to conversion, it's behavior-driven advertising done at its best. Predefined elements where marketeers back in the day relied on traditional ad formats versus new placement versus today, which is completely fluid because the customer is moving. It's not really, it's hard to define what exactly does this customer need. Back in the day, fixed budget allocation per funnel stage. But today, it's dynamic. We cannot have fixed budgets when the consumer is so dynamic. Again, conventional approach was channel-based optimization versus cross-channel strategy. Back in the day, a retailer used to say, fantastic, I did everything with my visual merchandise on my retail shop floor versus today, where that was the segment that they focused on, versus today, nothing can operate in silos. It has to be a seamless transition across all channels. Again, conventional approach, one campaign, one strategy fits all. It doesn't apply anymore. Today, it's about context-specific matrix. And exactly as John said in the previous panel, Sephora does this the best. Sephora understands my purchasing history, my buying pattern, brands I love, and then curates content which is dedicated to me. I, as a customer today, is not just a demographic for Sephora, but I am an actual individual whose behavior patterns have been studied very well. And hence, I get great surprises on my birthdays. I get exclusive previews. Yes? Fantastic. So a little bit on the winning strategies for market growth. I think I am short on time, so I'm just going to skip through this. But these are the touch points for every retailer. And I'm going to give you a quick story. We work with a lot of retailers in the region, and one of the things that came up is market research. It's fantastic. Brands do extremely well in other parts of the world, but when they are to be introduced to this country, very few retailers yet invest in customer research. And this is exactly what happened with one of our brands, where they wanted to introduce a new market segment without research, and guess what happens? The segment that they thought they were targeting was from the age of 35 to 44. We did a market research and understood that is not even the customer segment. People who buy these products are actually from the age of 25 to 35. Now what happens? It's a complete shift in marketing strategy. That's the only point I would like to highlight here. Of course, the challenge continues, how we move our audiences from top of the funnel to the bottom of the funnel. Every awareness campaign does not lead to conversion. This is where you need a proper strategy to win in this competitive retail market. Retail trends that are going to dominate in 2026, and some of it we've heard from the panel today. AI integration. AI is a reality. It has to be integrated across departments. Fantastic inventory planning, save of costs can happen with proper investment towards AI tools within all departments. Media innovation. Today, retail media is seeing the third wave of digital advertising, and the numbers say it all. Each of the ad goes out with the purpose of a conversion. We talk about TikTok, we talk about Instagram, we talk about shoppable reels, shoppable content, video commerce. This is where we're going to see an upward trend in the next year. It has been proven brands who invest towards personalization also look at an upward trend of around 40% in revenue increase spend with each customer. A little bit on sustainability is going to grow higher. The audience today, the customer today is extremely conscious from where they shop, how they shop, and how sustainable the brand is, especially our Gen Z's customers who look at 73% of Gen Z customers are going to shift behavior just because the brand does not look after the planet and is not very sustainable. Fulfillment is no longer about consumers and customer experience. It truly is, and that's my time. Thank you very much. Would love to connect with you, and thank you Middle East Retail Forum for this.